Just because I don't want to take
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Okay.
Welcome.
YouTube, Instagram. Dave here with what's becoming a classic.
This is where Dave gets his lunch now, is right up here on the desk.
Well, he used to be sleeping through the noon hour more commonly. He's adjusted to springtime, and now he's up right at noon, ready for snacks.
Yep.
Are you doing a little chase on
Yeah,
the table?
I'm gonna try and get Dave to face the camera a little bit more.
Ooh.
There you go.
Good job, buddy. Okay.
Look at his beautiful visage. Mm-hmm.
And his beautiful vista. He's like a mountainside of
an orange mountainside on the YouTube feed here. I think you did it, Dave. I think that's it.
You did.
Sorry,
you
bud.
Is this how anyone else eats at home? You just sort of like throw the Doritos and then you chase them around. Man, I could go for some Doritos. I gotta say.
Oh, you could try some of Dave's food. It's pretty much Doritos, but for cats.
I want to talk about how yesterday on the broadcast, 715 and the Roost converged to deliver us many delicious snacks and cocktails. One of which I had yesterday, and y'all, Paul had to do the driving on the deliveries because that cocktail was intense. Yeah,
we took all the cocktails home because can't be getting wasted at work here.
We got too much to do. So it was a delight.
I got to tell you, there's no paid promotion here on the Wonder Fair Home Shopping Network. We're just talking about businesses we love that are downtown and could probably use some support these days. Now, 715, not reopened yet, but we do have their incredible to-go cocktails to look forward to. We can report on 2 cocktails that we tried. Do you remember the names of them?
I had the Andy Sidecar at work.
A classic, the Anderson Sidecar.
It was delicious. Too delicious.
Too delicious.
Which is why Paul drove. But you know what? We switched roles, folks. So Paul drove. I walked packages to the doorsteps, and I kind of enjoyed my new role. I think you did not enjoy being the driver as much.
Not as much, but that's okay.
Yeah. We'll switch back on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, I don't have my computer here. I forgot to grab that, so okay. I might need to.
You can borrow mine
to go get that.
I got no space here, and I'm gonna need some.
Yeah.
All
right,
trade. Okay. So we've got a lot.
Part of why I wanted to get on the computer was both to like to tweet that we're live, and also that's usually where I'm checking the local news.
Okay.
In local news, I think I saw this morning, Douglas County has not had a single case in over a week.
Yeah.
A single
not
new
a new
case.
case.
Not a new case.
So
DG that's a positive.
Way to go. We're proud of you. One of the things that we're looking toward to decide when we will reopen, even in a limited capacity, with masks and distance and such, is I'd like to see like no more than 1 new case for 2 weeks. I feel like it's a kind of an arbitrary number without better testing, but you know, if we're not just flat but downward, that feels like maybe you'd think about it. That said, people could come from all over, Paul. And I'm not scared of them. I'm just trying to be smart.
That's great. I'm going to be letting folks know that they can tune in now. Is the subject of today's episode paintbrushes?
Well, whatever would give you that assumption.
Or is it more specifically a certain type of paintbrush?
Well, at the request of Kara, one of the world's most wonderful people.
Yes.
That's not facetious. That's accurate. Kara's a magical unicorn and asked about watercolor brushes. So I'm trotting out a bunch of watercolor brushes that we carry, but I'm also going to share a lot of knowledge that I've recently acquired and gathered over many years about how to pick a watercolor brush that'll work well for you. So the theme today is going to be obviously graduation gifts part 2, a little bit, and then brush up on your watercolor tools. Ha ha ha! It's so obvious.
Great.
So, where to begin?
Well, let's hold off on brush up and maybe do some
good trick. Make them all watch the whole episode.
No, I don't think Kara's tuned in yet, which is why I'm saying that. But Kara, if you're here, give a shout. because I know Kara wants to place an order,
Right.
and you did a lot of research specifically.
Well, I love
Kara.
doing research on art supplies.
Maybe we can get Kara on a call-in.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
Be so
We haven't
fun.
tried doing a call-in yet, but we've been looking forward to maybe giving it a shot. So maybe we'll text Kara, see if she wants to.
That's fun because Kara, in addition to being wonderful generally, has an amazing voice that I'd love for you all to hear.
I'll text her.
Okay, that's a lot of pressure for Kara though,
It
so no
is,
big
but
deal.
She's a performer.
True. Okay. So.
Well, I had, as we're talking graduation gifts, I pulled a few prints that have always been good sellers at graduation. So maybe we can do a little feature there.
Yes.
Since I managed to get them all online. Exciting news. Oh, and in Tech Update, I did get a spotlight on our product feature zone for Instagram. So Tech Update there for all you folks waiting for things to look slightly better at home.
Ooh. How advanced. Good job, bub. All right, you're tweeting and you're going to share prints with me, but maybe while we wait for you to join us on the prints front, shall I share something else?
The prints I'm featuring today are by local artist Charlie Forsyth.
Oh.
You want to tell us about how we met Charlie?
I think I heard a knock.
You think you heard a knock?
Ooh, do you want to check and I'll tell the Charlie story?
You tell about how we met Charlie.
Well, Friends of Wonder Fair Home Shopping, before we were a wildly popular Instagram and YouTube home shopping sensation, coming to you live from downtown Lawrence, noon to 1 every weekday during COVID-19 global pandemic. Boy, our tagline's long. Before that time, and before we were just a regular old brick and mortar shop cruising along at high speed in downtown Lawrence, we were a tiny little shop at 803.5 Massachusetts Street, where you had to walk up 22 pretty steep steps above the burger stand to shop in our tiny, cute little gallery store. One of the artists, and usually it was very quiet there. You're mostly alone with your thoughts. There was no cat. It was just you and your stationery and maybe one customer at a time. So Charlie once came up the stairs and looked around and thought, like, I like all this. I too am an artist. Like, hey, should I sell you some of my drawings? Can I show you my drawings? Which is something we get a lot. And I saw his great drawings and thought, these would actually work really. You'd be a good printmaker. I suggest you try making a linocut. And then he came back 4 days later and he had made 6 lino cuts and they were all great. He was just like, how'd I do? And he did great. We didn't even sell art supplies at the time. I think I sent him probably to Michael's to buy a starter kit or something. He was so quick on the turnaround and so prolific right away. And, he was self-taught, so I feel like you can see that in his work, but he's really devoted to it. He's also a middle school history teacher, I believe.
Ah, is that what he does? I knew he was a teacher. I didn't know what.
I believe that's what he teaches. And so, yeah, some people are just natural. They naturally have the eye for contrast and for the idea of working in a negative space. And Charlie's that guy. And we just like his work a lot. He's a homegrown artist, and we are glad he walked up those stairs that day.
Making his first prints just with a spoon and some ink. I don't even know how he's getting the ink on the linoleum plate.
I think he had a brayer, but
he might have had a brayer, but we're not sure. He could have just been smudging it on. I
mentioned to him that you don't even need to buy a brayer, and you can just make prints by rubbing a spoon on the back of the paper and then pull it off and walking through steps. I neglected to mention what I thought was obvious was that you'd use a wooden spoon, just because I guess in my mind that's clear. But he's a rare artist who used a big metal soup spoon for a long time.
Big old soup spoon print.
I was shocked when I heard it. Turns out that works just fine. So that is the story of Charlie Forsyth, local self-taught printmaker and good person.
So great. So let's show some of Charlie's work.
Sorry, my story was so long. Why do you let me tell stories?
I will say one of the hard parts about this time in particular, for what we do here, is we're doing a good job of selling a lot of the art supplies and other things like notebooks and sort of necessity type stuff. But we're not doing a great job of selling artwork from a lot of the artists who have come to rely on Wonder Fair as a part of their income. And so with great apologies to those folks, we're just trying to get it happening.
We struggle with the photography portion.
Yeah, it's
because we need photographs to go online.
We gotta get
and
photographs,
we just don't
and
have time or the skills to be a photo studio.
we're getting it all in line eventually,
Mhm.
but it'll take us some time. So stick with us, and hopefully those artists will too. Anyway, here's some of Charlie's work that we have finally migrated to the internet. A lot of the stuff I chose here is more like locally flavored, thinking graduation gifts. So of course, the Kansas State flower we all know and love, the sunflower. Now, I know it's black and white, but you can imagine vibrant yellow because you've seen a sunflower before, right?
I don't need it to be yellow. I just think sunflowers are aesthetically very pleasing.
Yep. Look at this beautiful sunflower. You want to go pop that up on the Instagram? Give them a close up. Look at Charlie's line work there.
Yes. I gotta say, well, we'll talk.
What do you want to say?
We'll do more art.
Okay, Meredith will come.
I feel like this is just like a simple, easy, classy number for me as a print connoisseur, if you will. I don't think this showcases his line work, so I'm not going to use it as the example. Haha.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, that's just $20. A lot of Charlie keeps his work really affordable. And here's another sunflower. This is the a rare two color from Charlie. We got the red pot sunflower here, $25 for that. Just an extra $5 for that big splash of red.
Yep. His rusty red does a good job of capturing the mood of terracotta. You can see he's still working through like 2-color prints and figuring out how to print them. He's got the black layer down. It's all right to see an artist
easy
progress.
criticism here.
That's chill.
Here's a local fave, John Brown.
Love him.
John Brown, he was in Lawrence once or twice or something. I don't know.
Like totally hung out.
He hung out here, Kansas fave. You've seen him at the State House.
This is a better example of the great line work you can achieve, even as somewhat of a starting out printmaker. But like you can see lots of interesting lozenge shapes with interesting curvature. We've got some nice delineating lines with some that describe texture and have even like a little bit of, when you rub your finger across it, which I can because it's covered in plastic, you feel the actual indentation into the press because he's printing really, he's got an actual press now, so he gets a really deep impression. Check these eyebrows, love them.
Probably can't hear Meredith too well now that I'm thinking of it when she's up there talking on the Instagram.
I'll stop talking up there.
She'll stop talking up there.
I will. We learned that by watching an episode.
That's what we learned.
I forgot about it.
Audio really drops off if we're on the other side of this microphone. Here's a nice little tornado print from Charlie. We all remember the tornado that came through last year or 2 years ago.
That was fun.
It was. We hung out in our basement here at Wonder Fair with Dave. He really had a good time.
And several customers.
Yeah. Here's a big old buffalo head. Just like pop that guy up on your wall. Let him watch over you.
This one's kind of hard to see
at a
distance. The detail is really light, I think.
Yeah.
Doesn't have as much of the perspective in it. Printmaking is hard with perspective since there's not as much gray tonality shift when you're doing a one-color lino cut. Here's
a final one from Charlie, which I really love, the trifecta of sunflowers. But also this is on handmade paper that's made in Kansas City by Kelsey Pike, another local artist. So real great tag team here, locally made paper and Charlie's sunflower print.
And if that wasn't enough for you, Paul, not only is this a standard, like, nice sheet of handmade paper, it's actually handmade with wheat inclusions. So you'll see the paper when you buy it and look at it up close, because I don't know how else you're going to.
You think that's local wheat?
I don't know where it comes from, but you can see very large fibers from the plant.
I'm going to show that up on Instagram because you can actually see it, especially now that I got this new light here.
So we got it all in that one. We got two local artists depicting our state flower using handmade paper that includes our #1. Actually, I don't know if wheat's our #1 export commodity at this point, but we're the breadbasket, so embrace it.
I'm going to say #1 export Home shopping networks.
Home shopping networks.
Find us a place with more.
That is not true. Atlanta
Not
has
true.
all the home shopping networks. That is where they're mostly based, I think. I'm not sure about that exactly. QVC may be elsewhere. Anyway, oh no, Paul got the phone again. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about Charlie Forsyth. So I'm going to carry along to other graduation gift options while attempting to understand what Paul's going to be doing on the phone so I can know exactly how long to goof around with y'all for. He's writing down a phone number. He'll be back momentarily. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled graduation gift ideas on the Wonder Fair Home Shopping Network Challenge. I feel like I kind of peaked with that Dictionary of Emotional Intelligence because I truly feel it's the best graduation gift. It will help you your whole life. And they don't actually teach whether you're going from high school into college or college into life. There aren't a lot of great classes about how to be more emotionally intelligent. You just kind of got to learn it on the job. The job of being human. So I peaked. That was
a job we all have.
It's the job we all should have. And you shouldn't snooze on it. So similarly, when I run out of those dictionaries, which I probably will, I have 4.
I can order more.
Yeah. The School of Life also makes an emotional education. This is more of an overview book, I think. Sort of a like philosophical overview of the entire company, I think, is in this book. It came out much later. I feel like as they were gaining popularity, probably some publisher somewhere said like, hey, y'all should just make like a compendium that kind of gathers it all together because you have so many wonderful products. We need something to be like your lead.
Yeah.
Sort of like cornerstone. And I think that's what this was.
And put it in yellow.
And make
so
it
that
yellow.
People are like, I want it.
100%. So this covers a lot of ground. Some of the sections I'll read through knowing the past I'm seeing. This is a section on others. And I don't think they mean others as in othering people, which is a racist form of all past history and probably today. But rather it's probably going to be about how to like deal with others in a way that's emotionally intelligent. So, great book. It would be similar to the dictionary, but I believe it's a little cheaper at $19.99.
You say so.
Maybe. Let's just quickly double check that.
Yeah, it says it's $19.99. Dictionary is $30.
Yeah. So a good price and a great gift. I think the gift of a book, you put your name in there and you see who it's from, and then it's like real classy. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Next up, I'm going to save this one for later.
Okay. All week, you get to see some graduation ideas here on the show. Yes, you are.
Speaking of books for grads, one of my favorite books we carry is A Velocity of Being, Letters to a Young Reader. Young doesn't have to mean like a child at 8. I actually think that these beautiful letters written by such authors as Jane Goodall, that's the monkey lady, Yo-Yo Ma, he's the music guy, Ursula K. Le Guin, Cat Wings, am I right? Anyway, I could go on and on. David Burns in here, Elizabeth Gilbert, Marina Abramovich.
It's a real who's who of people you'd like to learn from.
Shonda Rhimes. I want to read Shonda Rhimes' letter. Italy's first woman in space. That's cool. Anyway, each letter is beautifully illustrated by a top illustrator. So it's beautiful to look at, and the sentiments included by people who have established their careers, I think would be really inspiring to someone graduating and setting off on their own. You know, you could get them like that, Oh, the Places You'll Go book.
Oh, yeah.
This
is a step up from Oh, the Places You'll Go.
Seuss is great, but...
How many times have you been given Oh, the Places You'll Go? It's like...
I dodged it.
High school graduation, college graduation, leaving a job, that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is a step up. It's really beautiful. It is $34.95. Velocity of Being. Also, what a kind of badass title, if I may say.
Yeah. And we do have that up in the online store.
Good
on us.
Done,
yeah.
Team.
2 in stock.
Well, 2 in stock. What are you gonna do?
What?
We're a small brick and mortar.
Yeah,
store.
I mean, we're not the kind of place that stocks deep. We're stocking light and wide.
Light but wide. The Wonder Fair model.
You want to get it? You got to get in on it.
Okay, so I shared those 2
You could do just like one or two more, but we got Kara ready to call in to talk paintbrushes.
So
Kara's ready, I think.
Okay.
Kara, you can confirm in the comments if
as
you're ready.
We pitch to Kara, I think the perfect transition, because Kara is someone who does a lot of organizing, especially to get workers' rights for people who traditionally haven't had as many of them in art industries. Here's a great book for a graduate: How to Reform Capitalism. It's a small book for a big concept.
Yeah.
And it's only $14.99.
Packed right into that one little volume.
Yep. I think that it's small, it's simple. I feel like it's gonna be a good little light. Honestly, it's a light read. Like, it's written very accessibly. There's pictures. They're gonna be fine. If you don't know where to start, kids thinking about the role they're about to play in society, bam, maybe it's this one, How to Reform Capitalism. Kara probably has some ideas.
Maybe
Shall we pitch to Kara on the phone?
We can pitch to Kara right now. Give us a call. Might need to turn down the volume on your Instagram feed just so we don't have the delay here. But give us a call, Kara, and let's talk paintbrushes.
Is Kara going to call on the Wonderfair
Kara's
phone?
going to call on my cell phone. We're going to pop her on speaker. We're going to see how it works. This is a big new tech challenge for us here. It might be the only time we try this. We'll see how it goes. Okay. We welcome your feedback. Did it work? We don't know. For those just joining, we're going to be talking watercolor paintbrushes today, right?
Yes, indeed, Paul. It is Tubular Tuesday. I forgot to mention at the top of the hour. Whoops. None of those graduation gifts had much to do with tubes at all, although your diploma could be rolled in a tube, so I take it back. It was perfect.
Yeah.
You know what? They never hand you a diploma rolled up in a tube anymore, do they?
Ooh, yeah, you usually get the fake one in the...
I got like a flat thing.
In the sandwich
Yeah, it's
binder.
like in a folio.
Folio, that's the word.
Only my brother's preschool graduation was he handed a rolled up diploma.
And
I was very jealous.
Saw you envious of that.
And that set the course of my life, I think. Okay, so I'll start chatting up some watercolor brushes. So Kara's question yesterday was, I think it wasn't a question. I think it was watercolor brushes exclamation point. I don't remember. But
we didn't have a specific question.
Right.
Oh. Here comes Kara. Kara Stokowski, Soft Tech Solutions on the line. All right. Kara, you're on speaker. You've reached Wonderfair Home Shopping.
Oh, thank goodness. Hello.
Hello, Kara.
How's it going? So great to talk to you guys.
Great to talk to you too.
Absolutely. I wish we knew if this sound was being picked up by Instagram.
Well, I got it right next to the mic.
It's probably working out. All right, Kara, did you have a question for Wonderfair Home Shopping? How can we assist you today?
Yes, I need to buy some watercolor brushes, and I want to know the best ones. I was watching a watercolor how-to video. Oh, I'm trying to watch the Wonderfair stream now. And I was watching a watercolor how-to video, and this lady was like, "This is a really fancy $25 animal hair brush." And I was like, wow, do I need that to do watercolor?
Okay, this is a great question to start off on. Plus, $25 is actually like way more fancy than Wonderfair sells. Middle of the road for a watercolor brush.
We have had customers call and request the $25 brush. Squirrel hair, is that what I learned yesterday?
You can certainly paint with squirrel hair. That's going to be a little more coarse and ideal for oil painting.
Okay.
But you know what the animal you're going to want to catch and then humanely shave and form a brush out of is like a mink. It's going to be a mink, Kara.
You're going to need to find a mink.
Yes.
Or
like
those are so hard to catch.
They're hard to catch. They're also called martens, M-A-R-T-E-N. But the very best, so here's what you're going to need to do. Book a flight to Siberia, specifically the Kolinsky region, because that's where you're going to find the very best weasels. And you're good. They have really nice fur because it's like cold there. And so their fur is really All right, backing up. There's two kinds of brushes broadly, natural hair and synthetic hair. And sometimes they get wild and join up and they become compound. But
oh my God.
I know. So let's talk what most folks, especially if they're a little bit snooty, they think, and they're not totally wrong, a natural hairbrush is the best one for watercolor. Because
yes, that's what I've heard.
Yep. So that lady's right. The science is that our natural hairs are 3 parts. There's like that middle part. Oh, I have a note on it so I don't get it wrong. In the middle of your hair is the medulla. And then around the medulla is the cortex. That's like its outer skin.
Oh,
And then around that's your cuticle. Everybody knows about your
anatomy.
Yeah, hair cuticles. That's the stuff that's going to make your hair have split ends and look kind of bad. But the great thing about split ends is that they let a lot of water in and then hold on to it. And that's why when you need a haircut, maybe your hair's like getting really frizzy and weird when it's damp out, because a lot of the dampness is absorbing into your hair and staying there. So
Wow.
that sucks for your hair if you don't like the look, but it's great for your watercolor paintbrush where you want the water to go and hang out inside the cuticle, so that when you touch it to the paper, there's more water inside the hair to release out into your paper and make a watercolor fun time.
Oh,
So,
good.
to review, natural hairs, all that great crusty cuticle, great for watercolor.
Good to hold in water.
Yep. And the more the weasel or squirrel or ox or goat has hair that's kind of coarse and holds its shape, and especially if it's kind of wild like a squirrel. Squirrels' hairs are amazing. Let me tell you about them. They're already shaped like a paintbrush. They're thicker in the middle and more tapered at the end. So it helps you keep a nice sharp point on your paintbrush when you use a squirrel's hair, because squirrels, somehow nature decided were nature's paintbrush. So grab a squirrel,
Wow.
paint it up with them. Meanwhile, synthetic fibers, they're trying to emulate a animal fiber, but of course they're just made of like nylon or polyester, so they don't have that outer cuticle that's kind of rough to hold water. So water will more quickly shed from those brushes. They'll also like hold their brush strokes a little bit better. So some people like that. And importantly, like your own head of hair, they are a little easier to take care of and keep going longer sometimes, because natural fiber brushes are going to break down and they can get kind of wild. So, Kara, now we've talked a little bit about what animal you might want to make a brush out of. Do you feel like you want to spend $25 on a nice natural brush, or are you thinking like, what are my cheap options?
I think that I was surprised by the $25, but I was also like, well, gosh, if that's what it takes and it's gonna like last a while. But I was thinking more like $25, maybe for a pack of 3 or like whatever, kind of thing. Like $25 for a little set sounds like a great time.
We got you covered. I actually, in Lawrence, Kansas, our market is a little bit less toward the professional watercolorists. So we try to buy packs that I think are quality, but real cheap. I've got no pack here for you, Kara, that's more than $20. We're going to talk about a few of them. All right.
This one's 22.
Okay.
21.
That's fair. At $20, we'll say.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of Kolinsky Sable made out of a weasel brushes here at Wonder Fair, although we could special order them for anyone.
We'll special order any animal hair brush you want. Weasel, goat,
ox, pony. Actually, pony hair is trash. Don't
Okay.
even get it. Oh, and by the way, if
No
someone's
ponies.
no ponies, and if someone's trying to sell you a camel hair brush, tell them to just go home.
take a hike.
I will.
Camel brushes are actually fine, but they're like the scrap. They're the scrap hairs from all the animals just jumbled up. They're not even from camels.
So
Kara.
that's kind of like, it's not a actual camel hair.
No, there's no camel hairs.
Sort of an
It's-
industry term.
Yeah, it's like the scrap.
Camels do have hair though,
Oh my
right?
gosh, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Snake oil.
I don't know why.
Snake
Yep,
oil.
it's snake oil. I don't know why they went with camel. Probably because it's exotic and the art world has a lot of like stuff to work through about
You got that right.
Yep. So we'll just ignore camel brushes and instead talk about synthetics, which is what I mainly have because I actually like how versatile they are. They're easier to clean. They're easier to care for. If you find the right one for how you paint, it's going to treat you well and cost about 1/10 of a nicer brush. If you're a pro or you have a lot of money to burn and you don't want to save it, I guess buy a natural brush. But two kinds of synthetic brushes primarily, white Taklon and golden Taklon, at least in the US. Taklon's a proprietary name, kind of like Kleenex, that now stands for all kinds of synthetic brushes. Yellow or gold Taklon is just dyed white Taklon. But they will be a little bit, gold Taklon will be a little bit stiffer than white Taklon. So you get to decide, what's your vibe? Do you want white Taklon that's super soft and won't leave as much brush strokes, but it also won't hold its point as long or let you do detail as well? While golden Taklon will be a little bit stiffer and hold detail really well, but might let a little less water out. So if you're going for a lot of wishy-washy stuff, maybe go white Taklon. Or do you feel like you're more into detail? What's your vibe, Kara?
I'm looking at them right now. This is really exciting. Hold them up. No, keep going, Paul.
Okay, come back.
So we also have this set online, which I really like, by Simply Simmons. It's golden Taklon with like a dyed tip. That's made to make it look a little bit more natural, but you know, it's all cooked in a lab.
Okay,
so
I'm looking back as of now, just there's a delay of about like 10 seconds here.
Right.
So I think that the golden sounds good because what I think I'm going to use the synthetic for is for like mixing up a whole palette of watercolors.
Word up.
And then I'm going to use the natural ones when I'm actually painting.
Got it. Yep. So if you're working in a watercolor palette, so another choice in choosing your watercolor brushes, how do you set up your palette? Like, are you using little cakes that you got to dip into carefully, and then you move your color to a big palette, like, you know, old-timey artist style, or?
You know, I wish it was a big palette, but it's really just a little one, because what I have is the old perfect Winsor & Newton little, like, they're just little, like, they're travel watercolor.
I love those guys.
It's the best.
All right, Winsor & Newton.
I have a lot of palette space, and I could actually use like more palette space.
Cool. Well, one day we'll talk about our Mielo palette, which is great, and you'll love it. But until that day, Kara, I got 3 top picks for you. All right, here they are. Number 1, this is the Simply Simmons after they got bought out by Daler Rowney, which was a whole thing. But generally, Simply Simmons. Yeah, so they're one of my favorite brush brands. They're always cheap. They're really high quality. They last a long time, but they're priced like a student brush. So they're my go-to for getting someone quality for value. This set of 4 has a 1/2 inch, which you can use for moving your color really quickly because it's a nice flat, so it'll be sturdy. Paul's going to grab that phone. We'll wait a moment. Yeah. It also includes 3 round brushes in a huge range of sizes. So you got 1 big round for big old washes, like when you're painting beautiful skyways in the Aurora Borealis, as one does.
Right.
It's got a standard size 4, which is nice for laying in colored areas. And then it's got a teensy weensy 5-0, which is teeny meeny for details. So I like that set. Simply Simmons. It's $12.99 for the 4 brushes. It's going to be good for you. I know. Next up, I would maybe, if that's not enough brushes, I think this Princeton, which is my second favorite go-to cheap brush. They're golden Taklon, and it comes with a bonus filbert brush, which is my favorite brush shape. Although most watercolors stick with the round, but I mess with the filbert, folks. It's the one that looks like a fingernail and is rounded on the sides. I just think they're fun to paint with. So it gives you a few more brush options, including 4 rounds. So at only $14.95, really good value. Or Kara, if you want to mess with the big dogs and start leveling up to those weasel hairs, we have, so I'm a bit of a like a dumpster diver of our art supply chains, and I try to buy expensive brushes when they're being discontinued and cleared out. So I did pull together, and I'll put online later, Robert Simmons, before things got weird with their ownership, had a line called the Sienna that was a synthetic sable, but that works like a sable or Kolinsky brush, but is made of synthetics, so it's a little bit sturdier. And I bought out everything I could from them. So I have this set of 3 with a round, they don't say a size on it because that's stuff's all made up anyway. And it's got 2 flats. So Kara, it's perfect for moving color because you use flats for that. And then you'll have a nice detail brush as well. And I'm going to put that online at $16.50. It's going to be a real bargain. So I'd snag that one if you want to get fancy. That's about Kara's brush, folks. And, you know, I kind of want to start messing with like fancy squirrel mops. A mop brush, by the way, internet, is the best brush. It's like a makeup brush. It looks like that. Woo! So much fun. They're very soft. This one is made out of a synthetic, but it's trying to pretend to be goat hair, I think. But once you're into like the softer brushes, goat and ox, they're all fine. They're cheaper hairs. So maybe look for like an ox hair brush, Kara, for your big flat mover.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it's really cute.
I don't even know. I'm not even making stuff that's that big. I have to even get a bigger, big.
Get big. Well, you know, actually, if you're not working that big, then this set might be good for you. This is the Zen set. We have 2 versions. I don't think it's as good for, like, it's not like Golden Taklon going to be as good for detail and mixing because they're going to just be too soft and floppy. But these Zen sets are nice because, first of all, they're metallized handles, so they don't, like wood handles, they're not going to get all jumped up in your studio.
I love a metal handle.
Right? A metal handle is where it's at. They're never going to chip or break, and that's nice.
Yeah.
These all come with big, soft brushes in a bunch of colors. I like this set with the big, huge mop top because it has an angle shader, Kara, that's really nice for laying in big washes.
No way. That's
I know. It's so good. Hi, Instagram. I'll show you, too. Paul's going to come. All right. So lots of options. Kara very smartly points out you're going to want to use a different brush for like mixing than you're going to use for laying in a nice, beautiful, soft sky. I put a bunch of options online that people can use. I think I mostly covered thinking about differences between synthetic and natural. I guess I didn't talk about the main brushes watercolorists use. Round brushes are definitely a watercolorist go-to. Because you can do washes, you can do details. You're going to need, if you mostly do expressionist stuff, maybe you use mostly bigger brushes. If you mostly do detail and miniature painting, you probably obviously need smaller brushes. Pausing one moment while Paul gets this phone. Yeah. 1 second. And last but not least, there's different kinds of tiny round brushes, folks. It's super fun. Let's talk about them really quick. So you might want to mess with the standard round. That's just going to be like proportionally round and it looks nice. The brush bristles aren't going to look long. They're not going to look short. They're just going to look round. Next up, maybe you're out here painting a lot of boats. Kara lives on the coast, so that's totally plausible. Yeah. There's a specific to watercolor brush called a rigger, but R-I-G-G-E-R, because they're mainly used to paint the rigging on boats.
What?
Isn't that cute?
Which one?
And goofy.
Cute, so cute and goofy. They're called riggers. But that's mainly in like Europe, like Winsor and Newton might call a brush a rigger. Most companies based in the US, like Princeton, are going to call it a liner brush. You might also call it a lettering brush. And that's going to help you. It carries more water than a regular round brush. So you can go on for longer without dipping back in your paint and create more long line effects. So if you're painting lots of chemtrails and stuff, maybe you're going to need a liner brush. Yeah, I thought you might be, Kara. Kara doesn't believe in that stuff, folks. I don't want to create a lie about the mythology of Kara here. Another kind of brush you might use is just like a really short round brush for detail. There's a name for those. I can't remember it off the top of my head because I don't even think about it. And you might call it like a liner petite. But it's just going to be a little bitty guy for painting like the whites and people's pupils and stuff. So
I need that. I'm making a lot of small work in postcards. So I feel like the smaller is actually like good. Maybe someday I'll make the big stuff.
Yeah.
But like for economical, I like to spread my art around. I'm not trying to make the biggest piece and then sell it for $1 billion. That's a scam.
That is a scam.
I just want everybody to have one.
What size are you working at? 4x6? 5x7?
Yeah, they're like, I would say 5x7 is my preferred size, really.
Options for Kara. I'm loving so many options for you. This Sienna set, Extreme Value Discount Closeout, does have a very small size 0 round that'll work for small detail. Or get wild with this Princeton set of 7 brushes, which has the teeny weeniest little golden tack-on. Or
That's like exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I feel like this one or this one's got the teeny weeniest. This one has the range of everything you need, Kara. This might be your jam. Or get fancy. Slightly less selection, slightly higher quality. So, Kara, do you have any follow-up questions about watercolor brushes we can answer today?
Oh my gosh. The only other thing I had a question about, and I don't know if you have this like out or handy, you had that like round, it's like a watercolor pad, and then it has a rounded top. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
It's on your website.
I got it.
Yes, Paul will grab it.
It's like an old gravestone maybe.
Yep.
I thought that was so cool.
Those are so cool. I've been getting really into weirdly shaped watercolor pads lately. Not everything needs to be a rectangle. Paul's gonna grab
why
it.
does it need to be a rectangle? No reason. Do you have other weird shaped watercolor pads?
We also now have a fully round one, Kara, and I know you love the earth more than anything. And if you'd like to start just painting the earth every day, we could hook you up. It's not online yet, but it will be shortly because I haven't actually received them yet. But the fully round pads are somewhere in our shop. Here's the one Kara's describing.
Exactly what I want.
This one's pretty special. Kara, there's more. Did you see that the edge is painted black? And the
Yeah, I did. I was obsessed.
It's kind of amazing, folks.
Is it like really bumpy?
The
paper?
You know what? It just occurred to me to ask myself: is the paper black?
No, it's not.
No, the paper's
That'd be wild if it was. How bumpy is it, Paul?
I think it's a cold press.
Okay, tell the people at home what a cold press means. You're learning a lot on Wonder Fair Home Shopping. People at home, Kara already knows
Cold
this.
press is the more textured of the watercolor papers. A hot press is going to have the smoother feel. Most people, when they think watercolor paper, tend to think cold press and that texture. This is not the super rough texture. It's kind of just like your normal, everyday cold press.
Yeah. Cool. It's cold press. The backside's like mini cold press paper. It's a bit smoother, but I will say it's clear that Fredericks and May, a wonderful company out in New York, is painting these by hand because sometimes the edge is a little sloppier.
Yeah, it bleeds onto the page a little bit. It's real homegrown.
I'm kind of into it.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, I feel like this is the way to make some classy portraits. Job done. Ready to hang up. Ready to pop on the wall.
Yep, you might put this in a little sort of
perfect size.
Yeah, this could be put into like a little reliquary or something. So if you're doing little shrines at home and you want to like I don't know who you would be putting who would you be putting in your shrine, Kara? Think about that.
Gosh. I have a little shrine to print.
Okay, so you might do a little Prince portrait here.
Just like a little purple rose.
Oh, beautiful. Yep.
I know.
It's sort of like ready to go. You don't even need to think about framing it because it's already done for you there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And they're small enough that I could like mail them out.
Yeah.
They're not that crazy.
Yep.
That it's like, oh gosh, mailing big
Don't need to roll it up. No.
Here's
I just want to put it in a little envelope.
Here's the round pad, Kara. You can't really see what it's like, but it's just totally round. It's 140-pound cold press. So it's going to have a little bit of a texture. It's totally round. It's, I don't remember how much money. It's probably like $15, maybe 10. I don't know.
Love it.
And that's how we do it on the Home Shopping Network. Okay, well, Kara, if you have no other questions for us.
Oh, you answered them all. I'm going to be making an order.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Kara. Kara's also an artist. You can find Kara as Water Feature on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
There's like an underscore, right?
And you're doing regular DJ sets on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah. Not on Instagram, on Twitch. I do them every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right, every Sunday on Twitch, 6 to 8 Eastern, you can hear Kara spinning records. And
Twitch TV / Hot Dog Hamburg.
Hot Dog Hamburg.
Yep,
That's awesome.
Yep. Hey,
Well,
thanks.
that's a quality. You're also DJ Dayglow, but hot dog hamburger is good.
Yep.
Well, Kara
Yeah,
is
hot dog hamburger.
multifaceted and gave us an opportunity to talk about watercolor brushes. I feel like I covered a lot of, I probably have more notes, but who's got time for all these notes, folks? We talked about the medulla, so we got that.
Oh,
We got it
covered,
all
thank
in.
goodness.
Can I show folks
Yeah.
your diagram?
so much, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of
Wow,
phallic.
I just feel so informed and not ripped off in any way like that scam lady on the internet.
No.
I mean, I'm sure she has a really nice brush. She's probably
Me
using
too.
a Winsor & Newton number 7, folks. Those are really good. We
Yeah.
just special ordered some. I do recommend them. They're worth the money probably if how much water your paintbrush holds is really important to you. But until the point where
Yeah.
that matters, I'd say hold off.
Yeah.
Practice your
Cool.
skills with cheaper brushes so when you level up to the really nice ones, they're doing everything they're made to do.
It's fun to work up to that fancy thing and be like, all right,
Yes,
I've screwed
the way I
I've
feel
screwed
too.
around enough with these fake ones. Let's see what the real deal is
Yep.
like.
I think having the right range of shapes and sizes is probably more important to start out than having the most expensive materials.
That's Meredith's brush
Oh,
advice
that's
right there. And
easier,
lots of
yeah.
people ignore it, but you should take
Yeah.
it.
You know what? Here's my gripe. I'm going to do a gripe. Art school.
That's right.
Here's a gripe. Art school.
Art
Am I
school
right?
gripes.
I graduated with a degree in painting, folks. And guess what? I never learned a single thing about what brushes I should use or what they were made of or how it would change my painting until I started researching it to run an art supply store. So I wish we had more opportunities to think about the materials we use, how they're made, if they're made in a way that's environmentally friendly. None of that's really
Yeah.
covered in most art schools. So if you've had a teacher, and I will say we supply some teachers from KU who do this. If your teachers taught you anything about materials, you should thank them because they're doing a great job
Totally.
helping make you better artists because small material differences make huge material changes in how your work looks. But that don't mean you gotta spend a ton of money. Or start a weasel farm, Kara. Throwing it out there.
Second career. Yep.
Yep.
My mom's always telling me, what are you going to do for
Ev-
the next career?
Everybody's
Farm,
looking.
Mom.
It's a real hustle right now for artists. We know, Kara. So yeah, it might be good to diversify the portfolio. Do some weasel farming.
Cool.
Yep.
Hey, right on.
Yep. These weasels mainly hail from Asian subcontinents, but I feel like we could probably raise some quality squirrels at the very least.
You do a lot of time up in Vermont, right? That's sort of like cold and wintry up there. Get up there, raise some weasels. No big deal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. My imagination's expanded. I can't wait to buy some watercolor brushes and probably a bunch of other stuff.
We'll put them
That's so
online for you,
exciting.
Kara. Hey, Kara, look out for a
Hey.
secret family discount code that
Call
will be
us,
coming
call
at
us
you.
later. We'll hook you up. Thanks so much for calling in today, Kara.
Ciao, everybody.
Great to
Kara
talk to you.
Stokowski, everybody.
Bye.
What a hero.
All right.
What a wonderful person.
That was great call-in.
I hope that the audio worked for everybody.
Good reviews on Instagram. No idea what it was like on YouTube, but folks are still watching, so hopefully they could hear Kara because Kara is great and
Kara
funny.
is great. Kara's great and so funny and a great singer. We should have Kara on the
Kate
show.
Meyer, our fact checker, reports call-in segment is a delight.
Oh, good. I love helping because it gives me an opportunity to read more and learn more. For example, I knew that natural was better because it held water better, but I didn't really know why. And now I know it's all about that. It's just everything's logical if you think it through.
Apologies for the dings. My text group for Animal Crossing is blowing up. I'm guessing somebody's got a really great price on turnips. So
Sorry.
I don't know what's going on there, but it was really ding, ding, ding. Sorry, everybody.
That's cool. I like that a lot. Hey, there's something not related to Kara's question about brushes, but if we have time, I'll just keep talking.
We've got some
brush-
time. Let's
Okay.
clean up this brush mess, and
Yep.
and that'll probably be the show
Let's
for today.
clean it up. So first of all, speaking of cleanup,
You didn't get into these. Is that what you're talking
I
about?
didn't. I'm
Okay.
gonna get there. So when choosing between natural and synthetic, depending on how you paint, if you only paint with watercolor, both are fine. If you primarily paint with oils, both are still fine, but generally I hear that oil painters like natural brushes. They're a little less soft, and with oil paint, they're just stiffer, and they sometimes need a stiffer brush to respond to you. Meanwhile, acrylic right in the middle, actually, and this might surprise some folks, the compounds in acrylic paints are all chemical, not like oil paint, which has a lot of natural compounds. It's actually quite hard on brushes. So if you paint with acrylics, spending a lot on your brushes might end up resulting in a lot of broken brushes that cost a bunch, and then you broke out flat out. So maybe invest in synthetic brushes that are decent, because synthetics can stand up better to the chemicals in acrylic paint. So heads up, I really like golden Taklon for acrylic, but I actually use white Taklon more often because I didn't know what I was doing. But it's softer and it won't hold your brush strokes. And if you're looking to not have brush strokes in your painting, go with the white Taklon for acrylic paint and you'll be very happy. That's a little bit about paintbrushes for acrylic, folks, because maybe you paint with gouache and watercolor and you need something right down the middle. And for gouache and watercolor together, I would definitely say golden or white Taklon are great. Okay. Maybe skip the Kolinsky Sable unless you're mainly painting watercolor and not gouache. That was that piece of information. In other news, speaking of watercolor brushes, maybe you want to get wild with some water brushes, which are going to be synthetic filaments that are like any standard brush, but instead of a handle, they've got a reservoir for water. So you can just blast that water right through your painting. And I think every good watercolor kit has a water brush in it, just as something to quickly take on the go. They work great paired with watercolor pencils for quick drawings as you get out and about. Sounds like Kara's getting out and about. So
that's what you don't even need to take the paint. You do it in pencil and then just like dump some water on it with that brush, right?
Yep, get wild. You, of course, in brush maintenance, when you finish painting with your brush, what are you going to do? A lot of painters, secret of painters, don't clean it.
I have no idea what to do with a brush.
The more, depending on what kind of brush you have, synthetics can hold up to washings better, but natural fibers, the more you wash them with water, you're getting water inside those fibers, and sometimes they'll like floof up like a fluffy dog after it's been to the groomer. Super cute, but not great for your bristles, actually. So you're going to usually, if you're going to wash them, you then need to put some kind of a cleaner on them to make sure the bristles don't absorb too much moisture. It's like a whole thing, folks. But you know what else? I was a painting major, and I trash care my brushes, and they're still mostly fine.
Okay.
Don't freak out too much about these small things like your paintbrushes. It's really minimal compared to, like, you know, I don't know, what's a big problem we're having right now. Just kidding. We all know. Okay, so watercolor brushes are cool. We'll go into it in more detail maybe another day. I prefer the Niji brand, but they are more expensive. So
what do you like about the Niji brand over, is it the Pentel?
Yeah, I mean, we have these Pentels. They're the cheapest. So I often sell them first because I don't want to put people out of their, you know, food and shelter. They're for one thing, a little bit shorter handled. They're designed more like a little chunky marker. And I find that in painting, a lot of the quality of your brush is actually the quality of your control over the brush. So the Niji brush is a little bit longer, which is going to give you better balance in your hand. So you can have better control over the way you squeeze and move the water around. And that makes your paintings better.
We have these online?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I just bought a bunch of new cheap water brushes from the Art Alternatives brand, which I'm excited to try. And if they turn out any good, I will definitely recommend them because they're going to be a great value if they're good.
Yeah.
So value brushes, again, just to review, I love the Princeton brand. We have a bunch of sets on our website, and I really think the company charges less than they need to. I think they're good quality. They come kind of crispy. That's because, like most brushes, they come with gum arabic in them, so they don't get all frayed and chipping. So you just got to rinse them one time, get all that gum out of there, and then they'll be good to go. I also love the Simply Simmons brand. They're probably my favorite cheap brush.
Oh.
So Simply Simmons, 100% love it all the way. Check that set out online. If you want to be fancy, cash in on my dumpster diving when I got these discontinued Sienna brushes from Robert Simmons. They're super good quality. You'll notice that the fibers of the filaments are smaller, so there's more of them, so they hold more water. It's just a great value. And this Zenset's just straight up cute, and it comes with these cool mops. If you just want to experiment with wild brush shapes and sizes, if you're just like straight up experimenting, this is the set to try the most sizes in a cheap pack. And they feel nice to rub on your face. I won't sell you that set because straight up, I rubbed that one on my face earlier because it felt good. I kind of want to do it right now.
Yeah, well, they also sell makeup brushes. I mean, not us, but somebody does. But is maybe better for that.
Okay.
But I guess you could probably use it that way.
Yeah. Hogs, ponies. Oh, spotter. That's the other kind of brush. Rigger, spotter, round, wash. Wash are like mops or flats. I didn't even talk about Hake brushes. Those are great for big washes of sky, folks, but we'll talk about
Going big, yeah.
Boop, boop. I put this online too.
What's that go for?
Oh, this Hake brush is very affordable. You can spend a lot on a Hake brush. That's the more traditional style of wash brush you'd see in especially Asian art. But they make great brushes for just laying down big areas because they're very huge, extremely soft. They hold water really well. So if you need to paint a big old sky fast, or you want to dry brush like brick patterns, grab a Hake brush. This one's only $5.
Or you could even use it on the wall, probably.
You know, you could. I will say these will give up. I don't like it for sticky paint because it will give up its bristles quite readily because they're so soft. So when you use sticky paint with a soft brush, you're going to be more likely to end up with hairs in your painting. Watercolor is fine because the paint's not sticky and it wants to get rid of the water, not stick to it.
Can you watercolor your walls, though?
Yes, you can.
So, I mean, if you're going to... We've been telling you for a couple of months now, just paint the walls in your house like we did.
Mm-hmm.
Paint a little studio, let your kids go wild. There's, you know, you don't even need paper. Just use the walls you got. Sarah Schrader says she loves this brush to dust art.
That it is so soft and wonderful for, in fact, I think even like paleontologists use them to brush like dirt off bones. Hake brushes do a lot. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're so soft. They have, all the bristles are natural, so they're not going to put any chemicals down onto paper. They're not gonna do anything naughty, except maybe lose a bristle when you put sticky stuff.
Now, I know a lot of folks out there may not work in a museum setting like Sarah, but surely you have something on your wall that needs dusting.
Straight up, this will work great for that.
This one will work great for it.
Yep.
You might not have known, but you can just straight up dust those paintings you got on the wall.
Oh, you should absolutely dust paintings with a Hake brush. That would be a great tool. It's better than a chamois because it won't leave little bits of chamois behind. Chamois are made of short fibers, while this is a long fiber that won't be as likely to come off. And if it comes off, you can tweezer your one hair off your painting. What else could you use a Hake brush for? Well, just like clapping.
If you got one hand injured, but you can still hold a brush, go ahead.
You could probably like use it as a fan if it's hot. Yep, that's working. You could definitely glaze pastries with this really nice. Like butter would probably be okay. Yeah, that'd probably be fine.
Would that be easy to clean off of that brush?
I don't know.
That'd be a lot of oil.
Might need to be your dedicated butter brush.
Okay.
You know what? Just buy a $5 Hake brush and you decide.
You decide.
What you'd want.
You let us know what you've used it for.
I only have 4 in stock.
Okay.
We buy these. These are so nice for ink washes as well, by the way. If you're painting like with ink, like India ink.
Oh, wow. So is there anything you can't do with the Hake brush? We don't know yet.
Oil painting would not be optimal.
Okay.
Unless it's really thin down.
There's one thing you can't do, but otherwise the world is your oyster now that you own a $5 Hake brush.
It's great for mineral spirits. It could also apply grounds, like if you have a not very sticky ground, like a varnish ground that's really light. I didn't know I was such a fan of Hake brushes till now.
Turns out it's the only brush you really need.
Cool.
Amongst all these other great brushes we've shown you here, I think it's time to wrap things up. So thanks for joining us here on the Wonder Fair Home Shopping Network this afternoon. If you've got any ongoing questions about watercolor brushes or otherwise, give us a call, 785-856-3247. We're here for you. And yeah, no deliveries today if you're local. Delivery days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And some of the stuff you've seen here, we'll get it online. Other stuff, if you don't see it, always call. Because
going online soon.
We've got it, or we'll have it online soon, or maybe not. It sometimes takes a while. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Adios. Tomorrow, Wednesday. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kara. Goodbye, YouTube. See you tomorrow.